What's going on, everybody? My name is Albert and I'm from masterballtraders.store. Today we're going to be talking about the Pokemon market. Now, a lot of people have been saying that it is going up again. How true is that? Well, let's get into it. So let me explain to you guys how I kind of look at the Pokemon market and look at its different movements, right? When it comes to it, I look at the availability of Pokemon cards in general. Now, this past year in 2025, we have seen a crazy amount of demand for Pokemon to the point where we haven't been able to see any cards on the shelves at Target, Walmart, Best Buy, whatever, right? So I'm looking at that. Now, even though people are saying, wow, the Pokemon market is booming again, it's pumping again, I'm looking at these stores. Do we see any kind of sign that they're going to have availability for Pokemon to be at MSRP again? We have seen signs. We have seen multiple pictures, multiple people going into Walmart, people actually seeing Pokemon cards on the shelves. Now, how does that relate to the fact that people are saying that Pokemon is booming again? Well, it has to do with the fact that a lot of people, from what I have seen, don't realize that Pokemon is different it's different when it comes to investing, right? Because Pokemon investing is still a not known thing to people. They still don't believe in it. They don't think that Pokemon can go up, but we can see that with time, Pokemon has gone up. So we can now start comparing what is actually going to go up, what is not going to go up, and what are the safest investments to go into. Now, when the Pokemon market is going up, that is completely different than when some certain Pokemon products are going up. Now, the Pokemon market going up is literally what we saw in 2025. People going crazy. People camping outside of Best Buy, outside of GameStop. I mean, people literally, secondary market prices, scalpers everywhere making crazy amounts of money. That's what we see in a huge booming Pokemon market. Now, do we still have some of that right now in January 2026? Of course we do. Of course we do. We're not just going to go from one night of all of that craziness to, the next night of nothing. So of course we have that. Now, is it slowing down? Yes. Yes, it is. What I'm seeing personally, I'm looking at the new modern cards. I'm looking at the things that are out there right now because those are things that people can get. Now, if we look at, let's see here. I'm going to look at Phantasmal Flames. They were selling at the end of December they dropped in December to 80 to 75. At the end of December, they were selling for $75. What are they at now? We just had a last sold for $76.31. Guys, I don't see any huge movement up. I mean, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, if we look at the modern prices right now, we go into Walmart, we go into Best Buy, we don't see people freaking out over Pokemon right now. What is actually going up, though? Let's look into that. All right, so let's talk about modern first. So we see the new Ascended Heroes going out of stock every single time that they put them out in Target, Best Buy, Walmart, whatever, right? Well, they're going out of stock. I don't think I need to be the one to tell you this, but they're going out of stock because they're brand new. Ascended Heroes, even though Pokemon, in my belief, is sort of on a small decline, Ascended Heroes is a huge set. People see the cards in it. It appeals to everybody. There's going to be a lot of value in the cards and the chases, obviously. And it is a ETB. It's it's a specialty set, so they only come out with ETBs. So anything that they come out with, it's going to get sold out right away. Now, we can't base the Pokemon market based on a really, really hyped up set that is now coming out. And even if we do base it on that, this set has no demand like Phantasmal Flames did, like Mega Evolutions did, like Destined Rivals did, like Prismatic did. I mean, this set is nice, and in my belief, a lot nicer than some of the sets that I just listed, but it's got none of that demand. I mean, people were literally using up their life savings to go and invest in Prismatic when it first came out, even now. So if we're looking at that, we can see that, we can see why that's going up. Now let's look at something else. We can see Sword and Shield products are going up. So we have Sword and Shield. Guys, Sword and Shield hasn't been printed for a bit now. all of these boxes, all of these things that are going up are not necessarily in print at this very second. So if you look at Sword and Shield boxes, let's look at, let's see here. Let's see Brilliant Stars. All right, so for the Brilliant Stars boxes, if we look at the 3 months, back in October, they were selling for $529. No, $521. Now they are selling for $570. Now, is that a huge increase? No. But what people are freaking out about is the fact that they dropped to $414 at the end of November, and then they started going back up. Now, a lot of people, when they see a drop in something like that's not printed anymore, they go into it, they want to buy it out. And you can actually see here, when it dropped that low, it was only 2 have been sold for $428. And then randomly, the next solds go all the way to $491. We have 36 of them being sold. Now, if this isn't somebody just buying out the booster boxes on TCG Player and making them more scarce for everybody and, you know, bringing the price up, I don't know what it is. But that's kind of what's happening with a lot of these Sword and Shield boxes. Now, don't get me wrong, Sword and Shield is a great investment opportunity, but why am I not stocking up on Brilliant Stars boxes? Because I'm looking at the percentage gain. Now, just like I talked to you guys in the past, I don't look at what people are going to or putting their money into right now. This channel and everything that I personally invest in and what I give my opinions on, I am looking at things that people are going to want in the future, not things that people are wanting now. So Brilliant Stars, as great of a box it is, I am not paying above $500 for this box. Not saying that it's not going to get to $2,000, it's not going to get to $4,000, $6,000. With time, it could get to even $10,000. I'm just saying that from my investment strategy, I think that there's a lot more things that can double in price than Brilliant Stars going from $500 to $1,000 a lot faster. And those are things I'm talking about when it comes to like MSRP, finding Pokemon MSRP. Yeah, things are hot right now. Things are, you know, people want Phantasmal Flames, and honestly, they don't even want it anymore. And that's why I think that that would honestly be a better pickup than Brilliant Stars. That might sound crazy. It might be a hot take, but based on the amount of potential that it has, I do think that the people should focus more on what's available, what they can actually afford as well. Because if somebody tells me to buy a $500 box of Pokemon, I mean, if I'm just a regular guy out there trying to collect some Pokemon and trying to get into investing, that's $500. That's basically all my money that I just put into this one Pokemon box. Now, maybe that's what you like to do. I personally like to have a lot of different products because I like Pokemon, I like being surrounded by Pokemon, I like collecting Pokemon. And I like to see the most value and the most gain that I can see from my investment opportunities as well. So I'm going to stay with getting smaller products that have a higher potential because I just look at the percentages when it comes to that. Now, what else is going up? Now we have Vintage that's going up. Guys, I told you that Vintage was going up. If I look at my collector app right now, it's pretty healthy, but only because my Vintage takes up a lot of it. Vintage is going up. Obviously, it's scarce. If Pokemon is going to keep going up, if Pokemon is going to keep creating demand for all these next generations, then Pokemon is going to keep going. Pokemon is going to be great. Pokemon is going to be big. And so is Vintage. Because Vintage, even though a lot of people just don't like Vintage cards, they still see Vintage as the main, as the base thing. You look at these cards and this is what we grew up playing, this is what we grew up collecting, and they're always going to be getting more valuable. Now, it's not crazy that Vintage goes up after the Modern goes up. I kind of look at it as I did with cryptocurrency. You would have all the altcoins go up first, and then Bitcoin and Ethereum followed up afterwards, right? It's kind of the same thing. You have a bunch of Modern that people go crazy for. They spend all their paychecks on it. It goes up. And then people are like, you know what? Maybe it's not the best idea to buy something that everyone, their grandmother is buying right now. And let's go and look at Vintage. Let's look at cards that people don't have, and let's get into that. And obviously some of that money is trickling down into Vintage. So that's kind of what I see with Vintage going up right now. Doesn't mean Pokemon market is booming. I'm not saying the Pokemon market is going to crash or anything like that. I'm just saying that's at a small decline, and we do need these healthy declines in order for us to keep going. And we do need to take advantage of everything that's on sale right now. That's basically what I'm saying. So that's kind of getting into what I would focus on. What I would not focus on is slabs. Slabs, single cards. I think that those jump up and down way too fast. A lot of people can just literally buy out a card, and then you're kind of stuck left with the bags. And you don't want to be that person. So I would stay away from buying singles unless it's for your personal collection, or unless you really think that they have dropped a significant amount to where now's a great time to buy. But other than that, I would focus on exclusives, region exclusives like the Chinese gem packs, which I do have on my site, masterballtraders.store. And I would also focus on things that are most close to MSRP. Because remember, just like I repeated a bunch of times in this video, it's not about spending the most amount of money. It's about spending the least amount of money and getting the most amount of money out of it. All right, that does it for this one. Until next time.